What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in three, two.
On the troll.
Hello, and welcome back to Mzansi. We're back. It is that time of the night where we have to talk about what happened in that court in Pretoria. It is hard, man. Does get hectic,
getting hard.
And I mean, you can see one observation that I keep on trying to push it away, but it cannot go away, is that, you know, you can be an enemy, but I think it becomes worse when you represent accused number one and two. I'm saying this because you look at Mngomezulu. Initially, it was Ramusipili who was made to look like an incompetent lawyer. I mean, at some point, we were drawn into those observations where we thought, maybe it's not up to standard. And then as time goes on, and someone comes and take one out of the two that he had, then we started realizing, actually, he's not bad. But that being said, it does not go away, this feeling. It does not move out of my mind. It is playing. So every time you represent, more especially accused number one, it becomes a war. You know, it's a war. I can literally, I feel like that.
It's a spiritual warfare.
I'm not sure if it's a spiritual warfare or it's what, but I can tell you for free, it feels like a war all the time. Ngomezulu, I think it was the case. It was even worse with Ngomezulu, because at some point the judge called him to come back, even if he was sick. He should come back. So now we are seeing it with Mnisi.
Yeah.
And it cannot be that all the time this thing is happening. But it is happening in that court. And I don't know how you feel, Emily. The day went by. How did you observe? And again, before we say anything, we say kudos to Mnisi. And I hope he stays safe, because he was also looking a bit tired later. I saw him. He was like, he looked as if he was tired, even.
His eyes were red.
And also he was touching his head. I hope is well rested tomorrow when he comes back. But let's say, I hope that God is with him.
I've also noticed throughout the week that he's been coughing, and I have to say
don't want to be drawn to that. But I hope that his healthy comes first.
Let him rest today.
Rest and
sleep like a good 8 hours, Rest.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, and also spiritually, I think you need, when you are dealing with a case like this, everything must be on your side. So I pray for him. I hope he's ready, and I'm happy about how he's going about with the cross-examination.
Yes.
I'm very much happy.
He's doing a good job.
But I cannot shake the feeling away of, this is how I felt about Ngomezulu. Everything was coming all right. We felt like he was pushing as hard as he could. And then things happen. I guess God remembers Ngomezulu. And it's not something I wish it would happen to anyone. Keep on pushing the good work. That's all I can say.
I also wanted to say something before we start, but then it slipped my mind. Because now, seeing the rising of the temperature of the judge, to me, I don't know, it's just deja vu. It's like I've seen this before. And we should be excited, but I don't know. I don't know if I should feel excited or what. I really don't know. But let's go through the proceedings of today, right? Hi guys, welcome back to the Mnisi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us yet again for another deliberation of what happened in the Senzo Meyiwa trial. So the lead investigator, Brigadier Gininda, was back on the stand, for continuing cross-examination by Advocate Charles Mnisi. Advocate Baloy started off with apologizing for the late start. He said that accused number 1 was delayed this morning. The reason for the delay from Modabi prison was that they were still waiting for an escort. Apparently, the original team from TRT did not arrive, so they had to make alternative arrangements. And Mnisi visited Sbia's version that Gininda had largely dismissed as false yesterday, calling it a lie. The version that Sbia was giving via his counsel or advocate Mnisi about what had happened before he was allegedly made to sign the confession by Kenan Boto and put his thumbs. He spoke of assault, he spoke of alleged assault and what the police were doing to him, putting plastic bags over his head and pushing him and kicking him. And yeah, it's horrendous what he was explaining or what his version is. And Mnisi continued with cross-examination. He asked Brigadier Gininda, the reason why you say you called Monareng was because he was not specifically involved in the arrest of accused number 1. He was not at the Vosloorus police station as you perceived him to be, a totally independent person, which would have then aligned with your best practice principle. Gininda said he didn't say he applied the best practice rule across board. He only applied it to the taking of the confession, and he said that he asked the team leader that was there as at the Vosloorus police station.
What kind of an answer is this?
It's a mess.
You are literally saying you were selective in applying the so-called principle that you've been hammering on. Is that what this sounds like? Because if you are freely answering to that without being actually asked when it comes to that, you are now saying, oh, by the way, don't put much emphasis on this because I didn't say it was applied everywhere. It was just there and there.
He said that he asked the team leader that he was at Vosloorus as to which tactical team member was not involved in the arrest of the accused or accused number 1 that could assist telephonically, and that it was Mr. Buthelezi. And then Mr. Monareng was then referred to him. He said he didn't see him in Vosloorus. So thing the sign that the commander of the SWAT team, Gininda, said that on the specific day, Zing was not there. Singh, the one who came and testified. Apparently, he's the one who was the head of the SWAT team. He said that they usually have 2 commanders, and the operational commander on that day was Colonel Buthelezi. So Mnisi then asked him, Buthelezi was also part of the operational team, and he never made mention of the fact that you called him to come and verify to find out who of their members was not involved in the arrest of accused number 1. That is new information coming from you, Brigadier Gininda, that you never heard from him. Then Gininda said that he would not have known who was there when the arrest took place without inquiring from someone. As far as SWAT team is concerned, the operational manager on the ground was Buthelezi, and that is why he engaged him. So Mnisi said that it's strange because Mr. Buthelezi was taken through vigorous cross-examination and examination in chief. He was then taken through a very rigorous cross-examination. He explained his presence and at the scene of the arrest of the accused and the movement of the accused, but never mentioned that Brigadier Gininda called him, right? And then Gininda said that it's not strange because when he himself testified in the trial within a trial, that aspect did not come up. What he said himself, he said about Munareng was that he called him to assist, but as to how he got to him, even under examination in chief and cross-examination, that aspect was not canvassed because he was not asked that not that it was kept away. So during this cross-examination, it came out, and he said that he was not taken to that point, and as a result, he did not testify about it. So Advocate Mnisi had driven him to that point, and now he's testified about it, which was a bunch of absolutely nothing because now he did not really answer the question, in my opinion, right? So then Mnisi asked him, I'm not referring to you when I'm talking about something strange. Mnisi said that he was referring to Buthelezi, and he asked Brigadier Gininda if he understood. And then Mnisi read the record from the 31st of October 2023, the proceedings, and it said, and I quote, when we heard that the person we are looking for has passed away, Sergeant Mogola then suggested we go to Vosloorus. We then proceeded to Vosloorus, but when Sergeant Mogola then informed us that we were going to go inside the hostel, I then called some of my men who were in the vicinity of Vosloorus. We arrived in Vosloorus and then got inside the Vosloorus police station. Sergeant Mogola then informed me that Brigadier Gininda was on his way. So according to the testimony here of Buthelezi, we are now spotting that he is not mentioning any phone calls that were made between him and Brigadier Gininda, right? So the state asked him, now, do you understand the court and Munareng and Mapumulo? And then Mr. Buthelezi said that he knew them. So Buthelezi said that Munareng, who was amongst the team that he asked to come and assist in Vosloorus, but he was able to notice Mapumulo when they came together in Eraton. It simply means, now Mnisi saying to Brigadier Gininda, that upon Sergeant Mogola informing Buthelezi that they were going to go to Vosloorus, then Buthelezi decided to call his standby members who were around the area, and amongst those people was Munareng. So Munareng joined them at Vosloorus, and he asked Mnisi if he understood the gist of this, right? Jonas asked for more time to interpret. I heard the voice of Jonas, Ubabu Jonas in the morning, and then it changed to another interpreter, I think after the short adjournment, right? So he was asking for more time considering what had happened yesterday about the accused asking for what was being said by Advocate Mnisi and what was being said by the judge to be interpreted, as well as the objections that were made by Advocate Baloyi. So the judge then said that short questions, short answers implores you to avoid lengthy discursive answers. I was thinking that maybe he's speaking to Brigadier Gininda to keep it short, but it seems like he was addressing Advocate Mnisi. He was trying to indirectly say that Advocate Mnisi was asking long questions. And to me, it comes at the surprise, because when you just go for the jugular and ask a question in that court, you'll hear stuff like, you need to lay the basis, right? So this is what Advocate Mnisi was doing, laying the basis, right? And somehow it got interpreted as a long question. and rather creating excuses that Brigadier Kininda now can answer short questions because, long questions had been asked to him. I don't know how to interpret that. I don't know whether it was criticism for the defense or criticism for both. It's very difficult to say in that court because no reprimandation goes to the state.
Are you saying you don't know? Because to me, that doesn't sound genuine. You don't sound genuine. You say you don't know who was being reprimanded. You don't. You can never.
You are
miss
never
anything.
direct. They are not direct.
You can never miss anything there. That's all I can. There, the states is never on their own.
No.
Never.
No.
So you can't say you don't know who's being reprimanded.
I'm trying to be
Classical
sober.
example is what happened towards the end.
Yeah.
It's classical example.
Yeah.
You can never miss what and who is a victim in that court.
It would have been nice for him to be direct and just tell Brigadier Kininda answer the question.
We
would not be in this situation.
We have gone past that. We have gone past that. I don't think I'm even thinking of such or even thinking that could happen. I was working at home, and then I decided to watch the case on the television, a very huge one, so I could see everything.
Okay.
I think I'm done believing that there's something that's going to change. You know what?
What?
If you can go back and just take your TV, make sure it has a 4K capability. Just
look at the faces.
look at the face when Kinindi is giving an answer or sort of defending a certain position or proposition that the Mnisi puts. You can almost see the judge smiling. I promise you, I couldn't believe my eyes, but I kept on doing it. Like I kept on watching the face, because that's the reason why I'm mentioning that how big the TV must be, so that you don't miss anything.
Okay.
Because with a phone,
I'm watching from a phone.
you
guys.
miss some of these things.
I don't have a TV.
But on a TV, you don't miss them.
Hi.
Like every time I can, it is even now playing in my head. Every time Gininde was defending a certain proposition that was put, like I was not there. The smile, a little bit of a smile in the judge's face, like a relief type of a situation, and then he goes and write. I don't know. I'm not saying, that's my observation. Forget about the mumbling that is happening on a mic. That's a story for another day. Just look at the face and tell me, is that a face of a judge that does not give or write judgments in piecemeal? Or that's a face of a judge who knows what is coming? I don't know. But I can bet you my money, my last cent, these guys are going down. Unless something drastic, or unless someone comes and say, yeah, I actually saw you guys. I have a footage of you guys harassing these people. That then, there's
At
no
this
way
point,
out.
his
But
mind
at
is made
this
up.
point, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, this is my observation, I see a one-sided court that even if we stop here, we don't bring anyone, we don't bring the witnesses for the accused, we don't bring the defense, we just leave it here. These guys are going down. That's all I know. And I'm tired of hoping that we're still going to wait for the defense. I'm tired of that thing.
They're tired, that the defense was going to come and present their case.
You know what helps me a lot?
What?
Is preparing my mind for what is about to happen. And I'm being honest inside my mind. It helps me when that thing happens. I don't panic.
Barry, hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
If honestly speaking, for the life of me, it's the first time I see that happening in that court. It's the first time, not in that court. I've never seen it in any of these courts. You know, the judges, you cannot read their faces.
You can't read them, yeah.
You know?
You can't tell what the verdict is going to come out like. Usually when you are in a
Even
court with a
said
judge.
Even Mnisi said it. You know, when he's throwing it on pebbles, you know, he's trying all the tricks in the book to neutralize whatever that might be happening there. But I can tell you, you can never change fate.
You know, I can recall Judge Lobster there at Bloemfontein, a court, the one who was presiding over Makutumana's extradition case. I could not tell. I did not know what his verdict was going to be. And I watched him. I think the case took like 3 days with the arguments. Did you recall that, Mr. Anonymous?
Yes.
I did not know. We were even analyzing and deliberating and trying to see what the verdict was going to be in the end. That judge did not give it away.
No.
We didn't know. When he made a verdict, I think all of us were like, okay, all right. We honestly didn't see it coming. I was one of the people that thought Makudumana has a strong case. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then there's also on the Jocelyn case as well. The judge there in Cape Town, I think it's Judge Erasmus, I may be wrong, but he also, I couldn't read what he was going to come up with a verdict when it came to Jocelyn's mother, Kelly. What was going to happen. Everybody came and testified. Everybody gave the versions of what had happened in that. I could not read him. But this one is an open book, and I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that, you know, I can almost see what the end looks like. Do you understand what I'm saying? In my opinion, that's my opinion, of course.
The examples that are supposed to be general, they sound biased.
Yes.
Where
it needs to be a closed book.
Where a defense makes progress, the judge comes with an example that is going to create a certain narrative. And we remember that with DNA. We remember that with Mnisi today, trying to ask about the time they took accused number one to Erathin, 71 kilometer issue. And then he comes with other unforeseen circumstances that he's filtering in. Now it's no longer about white and black. You know, every time a cell phone issue where the cell phone was not pinging in Phosphorus at the time, the judge always created doubts, in my opinion.
Yeah, he created
in any evidence that seems to be aligning with the defense, a judge will come with an example. Like
he's finishing.
How far is Phosphorus?
The prosecution. How
far is Phosphorus? Because now the phone is not pinging in Phosphorus at the time. How far is Phosphorus? You could have just went there and then it's not far. It's just here around the corner. You know, those are the things, in my opinion, that are saying you cannot. You literally cannot say otherwise, and I believe you. There is no way. He has, since this case started, never had anything that seems to support the defense. In my opinion, I've seen a lot of examples. A lot of them, they come as general example, but they have a message behind.
Yes.
That's why Mnisi today fought with the judge. That's why. Because he simply makes an example that what if an Elobrin, a crazy example, but in that example, there's always a place of hiding. What if a plane crashes or lands on the road? Type of example. Then basically, he's saying anything could have happened. And then Uginindi catches on it. And as always, they always catch on it. If it's not Ginindi, it's Baloi. They catch on it and then they say, yes, my lord. It could have been anything. And that's when Mnisi lost it. Because this was supposed to be a general example. Someone just making an example outside what is being debated in that court. And Ginindi makes it about the incident that happened. Yet he says he was not part of it. Now he's giving, if they were to call the person who was responsible for booking out the accused, now he's got an idea of what he's going to come and say.
Yes.
Then he's lost it there.
And this also reminded me of the build-up to where now Mgomezulu uttered the words that there's a collusion with the state. It reminded me of that.
Exactly. It is frustrating. It's
and I know Advocate Mnisi cannot say it, but in my opinion,
did insinuate it today, saying that if the court has made that was a general statement. I don't think it had to do with what was said there. It had to do with, in my opinion, everything that has been happening in that court. It's a frustration that is building up that requires you all the time to heat up and then also calm down, because there is what we call the LPC, which I never understand where it is.
Which is a hang over your head, especially if you are being funded by legal aid. Allegedly. Well, then Gininda then said that he had noted what had been said, but it is not different from what he said. He said that what he's asked Mr. Buthelezi was the name of the person who was not involved in the arrest and was given the name of Mr. Monareng. So in his presence at Vosloorus, he said he personally did not see him. Hence, he asked him to assist with the movement of accused number 1 from Eriton to Diepkloof. So Gininda said that insofar as what had been read, Buthelezi was confirming that Monareng was not present during the arrest, and that is what he inquired, because he did not want someone who was present during the arrest to be the one moving the accused to Kenamboto. And Mnisi then asked him that yesterday he told the court that the reason why you had gone with Mr. Monareng was because Mr. Monareng was not involved in the arrest of accused number 1, and he was also not there for Vosloorus. In other words, you were looking for someone who had not yet had an interaction with Monareng so that he can take accused number 1 to go and see Kenamboto. That's what he said yesterday, and Baloi stood to object. He read another page on the record, and this page read like this. When we asked Buthelezi whether he saw Constable Monareng and Maphumulo, he said, and Monareng was amongst the team that I had asked to come and assist in Vosloorus, but I was not able to notice Maphumulo when we had come together in Eriton. So Baloi was actually reminded by the judge that it was Eriton, because at some point he had paused and he was flipping through pages saying that he was looking for something, and then the judge came in and said Eriton. Right? I found that very weird, in my opinion, that the judge was able to finish the prosecutor's thoughts like that. But that is just me, right? And the judge assisted. He said that, as I understand Buthelezi's answer, he doesn't say pertinent that he saw them at Vosloorus. He says, I made a request to be joined by persons I work with. When I heard Sergeant Mohola say that she's going into the Vosloorus hostel, and now they are going to the Vosloorus hostel, Buthelezi requests reinforcements, right? Then the next time he says he only saw the presence of Monareng, not at the hostel, but somewhere else. In my opinion, this was to take away from the fact that Brigadier Gininda testified that he made phone calls to Buthelezi and Monareng, while Buthelezi's testimony speaks nothing about him receiving phone calls from Brigadier Gininda. In fact, he was the point of contact to Monareng, not Brigadier Gininda, as he is testifying in the court currently. So whatever the judge and Advocate Baloyi were talking about was a complete distraction, in my opinion. They just did not want Advocate Mnisi to hit home with this point. In my opinion, it was clear an interference of his cross-examination. That's my opinion, okay? It's mine. Mnisi asked the judge if he needed to respond and he needed guidance, and the judge said that he was not guiding anybody. He was simply speaking to how he understood the evidence. If he says he's incorrect, it's fine. He can argue that. And then Mnisi said that he differs with the court. He said that he will no longer be pursuing that aspect because the court had already made up its mind on this understanding of this information. Right? What was he supposed to do?
Nothing. Because
now the judge has put forward a version and he's not even willing to let this cross-examination flow. Already he's agreeing with the Brigadier Gininda on a bunch of nothing. I did not even understand what Baloyi and the judge were talking about. Did you get it, Mr. Anonymous?
No.
Did you get the context of what they were trying to say? I just was like, what is this now? And then the judge now said that he was not immune to persuasion. Can you believe it?
We are trying to mitigate the situation that is getting out of hand.
Can you believe this?
Says someone who is that impatient. And I've never seen a judge this impatient.
And he's only impatient to one group of people and one set of people in that court. He's patient with the state, but he's not patient with the defense at all. Zero. So he said that now he suddenly made up his mind. He said that he will make up his mind at the end of the case. He's not the type of judge who decides things piecemeal. Then he whispered, Heban. You know, after he was done, I was like, okay, there we have it. Mnisi then said accused number 1 said that Vosloorus police station he was taken to. Accused number 1 said that from Vosloorus police station he was then taken to Diepkloof police station. And he denied that he ever went to Egerton. Gininda said that that was not true. He said he is the one who handed himself over to Constable Morani, or he's the one who handed accused number 1 over to Constable Monareng at Egerton. So the judge at the background, they were saying, you know, as if he was agreeing with what Gininda was saying. Again, it goes back to what Mr. Anonymous was saying, that as he was looking at him in his 4K screen, he was happy. That happiness. Pella, when we hear it's like I'm listening to what you're saying. And what you're saying, you know, it flows with what I'm thinking. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't just say when somebody is speaking, you know. It means something, at least to us, the community, right? So then Mnisi said upon his arrival at Diepkloof, they also found you there. And Gininda said that that was not true. The judge said that he remembered somebody being given supper. It was asked if somebody was given supper. He asked Brigadier Gininda if he remembered that. And Brigadier Gininda, of course, could not comment because what would he know about supper? He was not there serving the supper. You understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry, guys,
in
but
a sense,
these things are unbelievable.
Accused number 1 is lying in saying that he never went to Egerton
because that's where he had supper.
Someone said he gave them supper. someone. That someone is a ghost. We don't know. I think it's Mukhane. Was it Mukhale or Mukhane, the lady? Mukhula. Wasn't Mukhula?
I don't even remember that part of evidence.
I think,
Because they were being asked as to whether they knew what the accused had eaten on that day when they arrested them. And now they were trying to say that they did give them supper. But at the mention of those suppers, I don't think even the police stations of where they had the suppers were mentioned. The judge in jail was just being forward here. I don't understand what supper had to do with anything, in my opinion.
It has to do with everything. It has to do with showing which side I believe. You know, if it was said by the states and I'm able to remember it and use it in defense, which does not make sense, because if accused number one is saying, yeah, I never went there. Whatever supper that happened there was not with me. What is wrong with that? Why can't he say that? He's not the one who said he ate supper.
He's not, actually. Well, the judge said that he would leave it there. And he said, if I'm wrong, fine. We can argue later, you know. And to me also, it seemed like he was giving the state a clue to go and look for the passage in the record where somebody was given supper so that they can go and back up Brigadier Gininda's version of them going to Eraton with accused number one. So he was kind of hinting that maybe there in the supper situation, the supper was perhaps headed Eraton. So that's what it felt like. So Mnisi said that it was very odd for the court to say that there was a question that somebody was offered supper at some point. He asked for the court to be more detailed so that he can follow what the court is trying to say. If the court is saying, I'm leaving it here, how is he going to understand what the court is trying to say? The judge said that if he has never heard it, then it's okay. It's not a problem. Mnisi moved on and asked Brigadier Gininda that accused number one said that on his arrival at Diepkloof, he got placed in a room which is referred to as a courtyard with a, he said, was it a matching iron sail on top? It's like, I think the roofing was made of match iron. I don't know what material that is. And he was based on that room most of the time. Gininda said that he was not there and he would not know. All he could refer to was Kennel, the Kennel that wrote the confession, Kennel Mboto. Then Mnisi asked him, he further said that you then asked him if he was not prepared to tell the truth. Gininda insisted that he was not there. Mnisi then continued to put the version of accused number one. He said he begged you, Brigadier Gininda, to trust him when he told you that he knew nothing about the death of Senzo. Gininda said it is not true because he was not there, and it is not the version that Mr. Mgomezulu put to him in the trial within a trial. He said this is a new version, and that is not correct. As far as I can remember, Mr. Mgomezulu was referring to the version of what had happened at Letabong, right? Letabong, not at the Vosloorus police station. So Mnisi then said, then you said that you then excuse him so that they can show him that he knows something about the death of Senzo. Gininda said that it was not true. He was not at Diepkloof. Then Mnisi said, he said that he was standing when he spoke to you. Gininda said that it's not correct. He never talked to him in Diepkloof and he was not there. And then Mnisi said to him, when the other police officers got into the place where he was with you, he got instructed to sit down, and they also continued to ask him about the death of Senzo and said to him that it seemed that he was still not prepared to tell the truth. Gininda said he was not in Diepkloof, and this is really misleading. So Mnisi continued to put the version of accused number one forward. He told the court that he persistently told them that he knew nothing about the death of Senzo, and one of the Metro police then went behind him and put a plastic over his face while pressing his back with the view to balance him not to fall. Gininda said he was not there in Diepkloof and he did not have evidence to suggest that he was assaulted in Diepkloof. And I'm like, okay, how? Because he was almost, suffocated. He not almost suffocated, he almost died from being suffocated. So how does a Brigadier Gininda identify injuries that have to do with almost dying from being suffocated? Mnisi then said he said this was painful and he cried. Right? They are saying that accused number one, the way this torture to him was so painful, he cried and he could not breathe. And I was thinking to myself, if this is, and I thought that, you know what, these things I thought they were pre-1994, but to hear that they are still happening, and it's people that look like you that, guys. Gininda then denied that he was in Deep Kloof. He said that there was an occurrence book that Kenan Mboto made at the charge office indicating that he completed taking a confession from accused number one. He said that all this assault took place when all the officers from Deep Kloof were there, and he's finding it strange that they would not report such an incident because he doesn't work at Deep Kloof and he's never worked there. So why would he make arrangements for accused number one to be assaulted at the police station, which he didn't have control of? Even Kenan Mboto was a commander at Randbeck. So today we got new information that Kenan Mboto was not even working at Deep Kloof police station where he took the confession of accused number one. He was apparently a commander at Randbeck. Deep Kloof station that he chose to take a confession and then he left thereafter. Mnisi then said he said that he was trying to free himself for accused number one. He fell down and they started to kick him in his body just like they did in Vosloorus. Gininda said that he was not there but continued to testify on behalf of the SWAT team, saying that the SWAT team wears military boots. He said if you are kicked by those members, he's finding it strange not to indicate that he could not breathe, could not walk properly, because he was talking about an elite team that was trained. Kicking him for the second time in military boots. He said that Occurrence book had no complaints of injuries, including Exhibit FF that said he had no injuries.
You know what is crazy?
What?
I know most of you are looking at this thing, Yoguti. They never entered the police station of Vosloorus. By the way, that police station is the police station, the rightful police station of this whole case. But when they were there with accused number one, they never entered. You know why I think they wouldn't enter?
Why?
Beside the fact that there will be other people involved now in whatever that accused is claiming it happened, they would also need to sign a register.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
That they got in with so and so.
Yes.
It is funny that Gininda is using the fact that he did not remove him on a red golf because he was afraid that he was going to, what if he decided to run away? But that could have been avoided if you went inside. The golf is not the police station.
No, it's not.
You were just not far away from the police station. We could have records of what happened there in a form of writing, OB entries and whatsoever, if you got in there.
Yes.
But you didn't.
No,
you
did
decided
not.
to listen to whatever you were listening to outside the police station, a rightful police station, by the way.
Where is the jurisdiction of the incident that happened? Right.
And as a judge, if I was a judge, listening to that, that would be making my arguments why I'm not finding these people guilty. There is nothing to support what happened in Vosloorus other than Gininda's words.
Yeah.
Nothing is proving that accused is lying. Nothing.
There's no OB entries. There's
no OB
paperwork. There's no warning statements. There's no statements that were taken.
Who keeps on emphasizing on the rules, Gininda should have used that police station.
Yes.
He should have,
Best practice.
as the so-called Mboto, use the Deep Kloof police station while it was a resource dedicated to Redback. But he used that, you know.
He used the Deep Kloof police station.
Exactly.
By the way, speaking of Deep Kloof police station, isn't the detective that was working on Longwe's case from Deep Kloof? If I can remember. I think he was. But there's a video that we did, guys, that we covered Longwe's situation. If I can refresh my memory there. But yes, it seemed the confession of Mboto was done at the Deep Kloof police station. Mnisi said that while being kicked and suffocated, they kept asking him about the death of Senzo. Gininda said that he was not there. He said that they then paused the suffocation or suffocating him with a plastic bag and the kicking. And when he gained the momentum to sit upright, he then saw Brigadier Gininda. Mnisi said he then saw you and another black male in front of him. You were standing in front of him with this other black male, and Gininda said that he was not at Deep Kloof, and this did not happen. Too bad that personal vehicle cannot come to court and speak for you that indeed you were never there at Deep Kloof, How unfortunate. Then Mnisi then said that when you and the other black male stood in front of him, the police who were assaulting him were also there. Gininda denied being there. And then Mnisi continued with the version of accused number 1. He further says that you went out of that area where you were, and then the other black male said to him that he was going to ask him questions. Gininda said that he was not in Deep Kloof. And Mnisi said, when you said that you was going to ask him questions, this other black male had papers in his possession, and he also started to ask him about the death of Senzo, and he told him that he knew nothing about it. Gininda said that he was not in Deep Kloof. He says that he had been telling this other policeman who had been assaulting him ever since he was arrested or had arrested him. When they asked him about the death of Senzo, he said that he knew nothing about it. He says that this black male went on to ask him about the Buthelezi brothers, and he told him that he knew nothing about the Buthelezi brothers. This black male continued to ask him other questions, although he is unable to remember all the questions that he asked him. And this black male or
Was
male...
this about
I don't know at this point who
this
it
black
was.
male?
It could have been, but I'm not sure. I don't know. At this point, this black male was asking him questions. He was writing on the papers, although he held those papers very close to his chest. He then requested him to sign the papers on account of the fact that he was cuffed. He then requested another policeman to uncuff him. And when he uncuffed this black male, he noted some wounds on his wrists which were caused by the cuffs, and said to him how, "Gandulimele kanje," translated, "You seem to be badly injured on your wrists," because there was blood on the wounds. Now, it could be Mboto, because I remember when Advocate Nkomezulu was speaking about this incident in particular, and how there was a police officer who was shocked that he had wounds on his hand from the handcuffs. And he did say it was Mboto, right? Then the Metro Police and the other normal police who were with him the whole day then took him away. But before they left, he put thumbprints on the papers after having signed. He put his thumbprint on the papers which were in possession of this black male. Gininda confirmed the signature and thumbprints on the confession, and he took that he took from Colonel Mboto. He said Mboto did not know the accused ID, address, and cell phone number, and it was given to him by the accused, according to Brigadier Gininda. And Mnisi asked, that is what he will come and tell this court if it needs be. Gininda said that he would be misleading the court that he was in Diepkloof police station when this confession was taken. So, in a nutshell, Brigadier Gininda denies ever being in the precinct of Diepkloof police station when accused number 1 was being made to sign this alleged confession according to his version. Right? Mnisi then said, what information did you give to Colonel Mboto when you told him about an individual who wanted to depose a confession statement? Gininda said that it was not much. He just told him that he had a person who wanted to depose a confession and asked if he could assist. He agreed to assist and he gave him the case number, then started making arrangements. And Mnisi asked, you gave him the case number of 63610 of 2014. Why? Gininda said that it was a reference number. It was procedure. So after the short adjournment, I would say that at the beginning I started to notice that the judge rather looked uneasy. I don't know whether it was me or what, but his facial expressions just gave me that bit that, he looks uneasy. Mnisi resumed to Gininda's statement that Colonel Mboto was a branch commander of detectives at Randburg police station. Gininda said he didn't know for how long he was a branch commander. He said he only got to know at the time he called him this after he told him to go and fetch the confession at Randburg. So now we are also finding out that Brigadier Gininda says that he fetched the confession that Colonel Mboto had received allegedly from accused number 1 at Diepkloof police station, that he went to Randburg to fetch it. That's what we are finding out today.
Didn't he say
according
he
to his
fetched it in
version.
Diepkloof?
That's what I heard in the trial within a trial.
Yeah.
I heard that.
I heard that too.
And now he's saying he fetched it at Randburg. Mnisi said that he looked at his service history and Mboto seems to have spent most of his time working around Johannesburg. Gininda said he can't speak on his behalf. Mboto would be the one in a better position to answer that. Mnisi said, although you have never worked with Mboto, you knew each other. And Gininda said, yes, they met each other when he was a branch commander at Cleveland some years ago.
You know, you remember the Cleveland case?
Cleveland case of accused number 3 that he was arrested for in 2015.
Nothing seems... It seems as if we don't have coincidence in this world these days.
Branch commander of Cleveland. Well, then Mnisi said that this is a high-profile case.
He would probably be in a position of knowing about the case of accused number 3. In fact, if he was a branch commander, then he probably was the one who was giving instructions as to who is supposed to deal with that case.
He was giving command.
Maybe I can say, I think now I know why accused number 3. Maybe.
The dots are connecting. Ne?
It's literally, something is lighting there.
Because a firearm was needed.
Well, I know, Emily, you can be extreme. I don't want to... I know. All is alleged.
My bricks.
Yeah, all is alleged.
Let me hold my tongue. But yes, Cleveland, Mboto, branch commander. Yeah. Mnisi then said this is a high-profile case, and Colonel Mboto worked in Joburg, and this case happened in the greater part of Joburg, so he immediately knew when you told him that you were working this case. Gininda said that he may have known about the death of Senzo Meyiwa because it was publicized, but he would not have known the contents of the docket because what was in the media and what was contained in the docket, those were two different things.
Yeah, guys, let's please press the like button. I say 190 out of 421 people. And we push to 400 at least. 400 likes, please. Let's just help each other. We need that.
Just press the like button, Dagabao. Just press.
We're just giving you time to press it.
Just press the like button. A few moments to press the like button, you know.
And yeah, it's true. Last time he said he does not know Mboto and Rapado.
Yes.
In a trial. You are right.
Yes.
He did.
He knew them.
He knows them.
Yes. Mnisi said that giving him the case number of 63610 of 2014, it would have jogged his memory that this is the Senzo Meyiwa case. Well, Gininda said he didn't know what was going through Mboto's mind. He gave him a reference and he's not in a position to comment or testify what went through his mind. Then Mnisi asked him, I think Colonel Mboto would have been the dumbest cop in South Africa to have said that at the time you requested him to go and do the confession, he had no knowledge about the death of Senzo. Then he withdrew the question, right? But the judge now hammered on this, okay? The judge said that he cannot say that about an officer of the law, right? And then Mnisi said it's not an insult. And the judge said that it was an insult, right? He said Mnisi called Mboto the dumbest cop in South Africa for not knowing about the death of Senzo Meyiwa. Well, in my opinion, considering that he was a cop in the SAPS in particular, was receiving a lot of attention in the media, this case. Remember how it was such a high-profile case that had not seen a day in trial. It was a huge deal. So for him to not have known about this case is highly unlikely. Now, the comment of now Mnisi now equivalating it to dumbest, in my opinion, I just feel like maybe I would have used rather the term ignorant, but then to be ignorant is equivalent to being dumb, right? I don't know, you guys, I could be wrong. But then I was like,
what is wrong with dumb?
It's an insult. It's an insult.
I mean,
it's an insult according to the judge. So
temporarily unable or unwilling to speak. That's one. Make dumb or unheard silence. That's another one.
It's even much better than being ignorant, because ignorant you just choose to ignore.
Then there's this one that says inverted commas dumb. That primarily means lacking intelligence or good judgment.
Good judgment, because how could you have not
essentially
known working in the SAPS
now,
about the Senzo Meyiwa trial and you're working in Gauteng? I
think this is where the judge is. The judge is at what it implies, which it implies stupidity or foolishness.
if the shoe fits. That's me. I'm not in that court. I'm not held to the same standard of decorum. I'm a court of public opinion, right? So I don't see what the big deal is with this whole dumb thing situation. Then Mnisi said that the word dumb is not an insult. And the judge said him and Baloyi with Brigadier Gininda, they came to an agreement, right? Because the judge was asking only Gininda and Advocate Baloyi that it was an insult, and both of them came to an agreement that yes, it's an insult. And then Mnisi said that he cannot put words into the mouths of the state and the witness, right? Why not ask a member of the public? Yeah. It was heated, this back and forth, but I must say, guys, I enjoyed it. I don't know why. I'm silly like that, but I enjoyed it. I enjoy the tussle in the courtroom. You understand? So Advocate Baloyi raised to object, and the judge called Baloyi a responsible member of this court. Did you guys catch that? Did you guys hear this comment coming from the judge calling Advocate Baloyi a responsible member of his court? That already gives you an idea of whose side the judge is on, if you were unsure and you were accusing us of making stuff up, right? Mnisi asked him why he referred only to the members of the state. The judge said that some members do not care about etiquette. This is no longer 1905, in my opinion, especially if etiquette only applies to the defense.
Applicable when you say yeses? Okay.
It's not in that court. It's only applicable when the defense makes inferences,
You know, Ratha,
uses figures of speech.
You know, Ratha, my opinion, I don't think he should have been a judge. He sounds like a father who knows that I'm the father, so I can do anything I want. You know, and then expect you.
He lacks objectivity,
to
in my
go
opinion.
and address them on the chambers while they embarrass you in the public.
So he wants to be the only one who gets to embarrass the defense. And they should not fight back when he's attempting to embarrass them.
Apparently, that's what the rules of being a lawyer say.
That's his rules.
I mean, I would be fired in the morning. That LPC Awa.
Hayi mina ngabe ngisusile.
I mean, I've
Ngabe
been
ngisusile.
terminated as a lawyer.
Hayi ngabe ngisusile. The rope would be put down.
So
I
now-
would be looking for another
So
career.
now you can call me
There's
anything.
no way.
You can call me anything. You can embarrass me and tell me my English is poor. You can do everything.
You cannot respond.
And me, I must hold it and go to chambers and say, my lord, I didn't like what you're saying.
Off the record.
Off the record.
You must not put it on record that you are disagreeing with what he's saying.
Umsuzulu.
Well, Advocate Mnisi now moved to Colonel Hadebe, who took accused number 1 to the pointing out. Mnisi then asked him, then you arranged for Colonel Hadebe to do the pointing out and you also gave him the case number. Gininda said that he does not remember and he was not sure. He gave the telephone numbers of Hadebe to Mohani so that they can speak to each other. Mnisi said that he gave Hadebe the case number of 636 and Gininda said that he was not disputing it. He may have given it to him as a reference. Mnisi then asked him, then you went on to arrange a photographer for him. Well, then Gininda said no. The person who does the pointings out is the one who usually arranges a photographer. Colonel Hadebe is the one that took the photos. So he said he does not remember making arrangements for the photographer and he has no recollection. Mnisi said that looking at Colonel Hadebe's CV, he would have spent a great amount of time working in the service around Gauteng as well. The police service, that is. And Advocate Baloyi raised an objection and said that the proposition that he arranged for the photographer was not correct. The judge agreed and said that he is not even allowed to do it. He said Colonel Gininda's best practice comes comes from a judgment of the Kruger case in KZN from 1992. He said the judgment said that for a kennel to take a confession of the person they're investigating is not unlawful or illegal. It is not good practice to do it. So here I'm getting a sense that now Mnisi, not Mnisi, Brigadier Gininda's answer was being supported by the judge himself. In fact, he was putting a stamp on it by even giving him a case that he can reference from now on moving forward whenever he's asked about best practice.
Yeah.
And also, now that we find out that Colonel Hadebe was the photographer, right? And is the one who had direct communication with Brigadier Gininda. Does it not amount to Brigadier Gininda being the one who arranged for the photographer? Since Colonel Hadebe was the photographer. Just a question. So the judge now continued to say that the law has never changed, right? It's still the same, this best practice rule. He said that it's just that you shouldn't do it. So he's saying that as a investigator, you should not take a confession, right? Nobody is disputing that, by the way. It's just the question of why did he not take a statement? Yeah, understand. You're gone. Not in a confession. It's fine. The other party can take the confession. But as an investigator, as a colonel, as a constable, so you can't take statements. You must look for someone else to take confessions without documenting your side of your work. But he said that the officer was also familiar with it. He knew the facts of the case. He handed the evidence on record of Sergeant Maphakela. The judge said that it would be interesting to know, Mr. Anonymous, if Brigadier Gininda ever read this judgment of Kruger, where it would be interesting to find out where he learned the best practice rule, because when Mnisi asked him where he had learned it, he couldn't really answer. He said that it was something that was applied. He couldn't really tell us who taught him the best practice rule. Mnisi said that what he put to the witness is not the evidence of Maphakela, it's the evidence of Brigadier Gininda, but he will check his notes properly. Gininda said he was not aware that the officers needed to be out of jurisdiction as to what they got from the media, does not know, but all he knew is that they were not exposed to the contents of the docket. All Mnisi was trying to drive home, in my opinion, is that it is impossible for Colonel Hadebe to have known about the death of Senzo Meyiwa at the time he did the pointing out with accused number 1. But then Gininda said he could not speak. It is possible, my apologies, it is possible for Colonel Hadebe to have known about the death of Senzo Meyiwa at the time that he did the pointings out with accused number 1.
Yeah.
That's what he was trying to drive home.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
But then why did he kept getting sidetracked? Like, he couldn't really get to the point of what he wanted to ask. He kept getting interrupted with both Kruger's cases about best practice.
Mnisi.
Yes.
No, what Mnisi was trying to get at, he eventually got into. The fact that accused number 1 never pointed there.
By the notes that they were handing over.
They already knew where they were taking accused number 1. So he never showed them the way to Vosloorus. And these people, they knew the area of the incident because they knew about the case. It had nothing to do with knowing with the case, then you are not supposed to take the person there. So everything to them was not new. Even the confession that was written, it was easier for them because they knew what needed to happen. So when they were given these things by whoever gave them to give to these people, they knew what they were doing.
I actually missed that. So I think all this blabbing.
Jumped the gun in thinking that you are not supposed to be conflicted because you are involved in this case. So the
Not
best
supposed to
practice.
know.
Yeah, he was looking at the best practice right there, and this was not there. This was on the fact that accused number one, in his theory, saying he never pointed there.
Never directed
He never
them.
directed
He never
anyone.
showed them where to go.
The fact that they took him from where he was, they put him at Albertine, which is closer to Vosloorus. They knew where they were going.
Booked them at a police station that was close. Oh my God, Mr. Anonymous, you're a genius. This is completely
It's not something genius.
flew
It's just
over my head. I'm like, where are we going with this?
no.
But you're right. He managed to prove that they actually knew where they were going. No one was directing them.
That's what he was saying.
That's why they were
he was
even
saying that.
comfortable to make bookings at police stations that were closer to Vosloorus. Gininda said that he could not speak to what Colonel Hadebe would come to court and say should this question be posed to him, and he said he could not speak on behalf of the two officers. Mnisi asked him, did you know him prior to the day you requested him to do the pointing out with accused number one? And Gininda said yes, he's known him as a police officer. So Mnisi then asked him, when you gave him that case number of 636, it had to be it had the potential of jogging his memory, and Gininda said he couldn't testify about Colonel Hadebe's state of mind. And then Mnisi asked him, after you gave him that number, then the colonel asked you where was the accused. Gininda said that Hadebe made a request to him that the accused must be booked in the holding cells of Albertine SAPS, and then he will do the arrangements moving forward. And then he asked Mohani to assist with this movement. Mnisi said that that was not in dispute. At the time, the accused is in Valeria in Pretoria, and Gininda said that Hadebe did not tell him to remove him from Valeria police station. He did not worry where the person was coming from. They assume they were in control of the person. They just indicate where it will be convenient. The Colonel Hadebe, the understanding was that he wanted the accused to be detained, and then he will do the booking of the accused out. As to where the person was, they did not get to that. What was prevalent was that he was willing to assist, and he wanted accused number one to be taken to Albertine and detained. He never gave him the reasons why. He said it was not necessary to ask him why. He said he was okay because he was booking him out from the holding cells. Then Mnisi asked, I'm going to put it to you that the reason why he requested that he be detained at Albertine is because he knew that Vosloorus is about 20 kilometers away, and that he'd be going to Vosloorus after you gave him the case number. Gininda said he cannot speak on behalf of Colonel Hadebe. He said that in Vosloorus there is a police station and Albertine is further away, so the logic of the distance did not sit well. Gininda said he went to the scene that was pointed out by Sibia to see how material it is to the case. He mentioned the Ita Road at Basotuni Hostel, and accused number one was pointing at it. And Mnisi asked Gininda if he did his own personal inspection loco since he went to the scene alone, and Gininda said yes, he wanted to corroborate what was said in the confession. Aha. Mnisi then said the inspection in loco is invalid and is of no use because it does not assist this court because it is self-collaboration. There is no evidence
Let
that
us
came.
get the context of this. This is Ginindi, who claims that he was already involved with this case.
Yes.
This is Ginindi now saying that he wanted to corroborate what
Was in
the confession was saying.
Yes.
Think about it for a moment. This is the same person who went to Senzo's home prior to the so-called cold case unit. So it's not like he did not know where the incident happened. He was already part of the team that was dealing with this case long time ago.
Yes.
What was he corroborating?
They took Mr. Hlophe's statement back in 2016.
What was he collaborating? because this is the person who claims he was with the old team that left this case.
Yes.
What was he collaborating after the so-called confession?
That happened like hours between the pointing out. What was he corroborating?
To me, it sounds like he wants to appear as a person who does really
Due
work.
diligence.
I don't think he did not know where it happened. I don't think he was never there before. I think he has been there before. Logic dictates that if you are investigating the case and you are part of the team, you would do such things. But to say that it was because of the so-called confession, I don't know about that.
Well, he said that there is no evidence that came from the same Mr. Hadebe when he conducted the pointing out that had been placed before court, which was indicative that when accused number one is pointing, this is what was happening, and the pointing was this. In other words, notes of the pointings out, according to Advocate Mnisi, those are just photos of accused number one pointing and pointing. But as to the essence of what he is pointing, there is not content. So he told Brigadier Gininda that your little self-corroboration does not assist this court. And he said that will be his argument. Gininda said that that's not correct. If you look at the pointing out form, there is a pro forma and there are notes. Gininda went on to read that Sibia indicated that he pointed out that the scene and the house where the shooting took place and where he was dropped off. Mnisi told Gininda that he was passionate about reading OB entries. And he started now going through some of the OB entries. And on the OB entry of the 5th of June 2020 at 8:01, it read, investigation out, Sergeant Mohani with one male for dealing in substances, Moses Tembasbia, SAP 14A, case 2173 of 2019, no injuries, correctly received. The signature was that of Mohani, and Gininda confirmed it. And then Mnisi read, at 1801, Mohani brought the accused back. Mnisi went to another entry for the Albertine Occurrence book, midday. The suspect handed in, pointing out by Sergeant Mohani of National Cold Case Investigation Unit. Name of suspect is Muzi Tembasbia, case 636, free from visible injuries. Mnisi asked Gininda that after the allegations of assault took place from accused number one, did he ever go through the OB entries from Albertine Police Station? He only forced on the OB entries that related to the confession, such that he is seeing this entry for the first time. Gininda said no, that is not what he was saying. He said that after the pointing out, he visited the station. He said he saw it then as part of the investigation. The second encounter with these entries was when he had to collect them for the trial within a trial. That's what he told the court. So after the long adjournment, the interpreter was kind of late, but then court resumed, and Mnisi asked Gininda if there was anything juicy that the brigadier could tell or bring to the attention of the court regarding that Albertine entry that he had went through, before the long adjournment. And Gininda said no. Mnisi went to a Valeria entry made on the 5th of June 2020 at 8:01, the time at which accused number one was booked out of Valeria. At 12 midday, that is when the suspect was handed at Albertine. So from 8 to 12, it's almost 4 hours, and the distance between Albertine and Albertine is and Pretoria, right? Alberton and Pretoria is only like 71 kilometers apart. Girinda said that he did not know the exact distance. Mnisi asked, would a person spend 4 hours on the road driving from Villeria in Pretoria to Alberton? Girinda said no. If the kilometer reading is accurate, he said that the person who was traveling would be the one knowing what would have been the distraction or point of distraction from point A to point B. Sergeant Mohani was the one driving, according to Brigadier Girinda, and he had to get escorts. So he doesn't know how long that escort took to arrive. So let me try and process this. He booked out the accused and then waited for escort while he had booked him out. Doesn't he wait for the escort first and then book him out? I don't know.
Crazy things are happening in South Africa.
Crazy things. Mnisi asked to approach accused number 1, and the judge was growing impatient and said that they'd rather adjourn because it looked like he was taking a while. And then Mnisi now came back and asked Girinda. He said to him, accused person says that from Valeria when he booked out, or he was booked out at 8:01 in the morning, although he did not have a watch. But on his estimation at the time on which he was booked out, it could have been 8:01. He says there was no time that was wasted because from Valeria he was driven in a Qashqai. Girinda said he didn't know what vehicle he was driven in. He was not there at 8:01 when he was booked out by Sergeant Mohani, and his office, he does not have a Qashqai vehicle. And Mnisi then said the police that were with him was Mohani, Ngamani, and there was also a Bongani.
Wait. So it's not a Qashqai?
I don't know how to call it. It's a Qashqai, it's a Qashqai.
Now you're using these words.
It's a Q though. It's a Qashqai. I told you guys I don't know the vehicle. I've just found out about it and then I Googled it.
It looks like a frog.
It's a Q.
Like
It's a Qashqai. It's a Q. I saw it this other day. Was it Saturday? Someone was driving it, random person that I did not know. But I was like, oh, this is the Qashqai that was being talked about.
I've been knowing that it's a Qashqai, and that's what I call it.
Qashqai. But why are you calling it a Qashqai? Because it's a Q.
Honestly, it's fine.
Queen. Oh, queen. Qashqai. Queen. Qashqai. It's a Qashqai, guys. I'm gonna call it a Qashqai. Qashqai sounds nicer. I am calling it a Qashqai, guys. Askis, I'm sorry. So the police that were with him was Mohani, Ngamani, and there was also Bongani. So Girinda said he does not know what Ngamani, he does not know this person as Ngamani, or this person that is called or referred to as Ngamani, unless he's given further details. He said Mohani is the only one who booked accused number 1 out. He's the only person that signed. It was not 3 people. But you were saying that he was waiting for escort, Brigadier. Huh? Brigadier, you said he was waiting for escort. Now you are saying he was the only one. Can this keep on? Well, then Mnisi said that the accused did not ask him. In fact, they would not even allow him to ask them, Ngamani, what is your real name? Is that an AKA? Imagine, accused number 1 trying to ask such questions out of police officers. Imagine, how would that have ended up? So he couldn't ask for their real names. And he said they were calling him Ngamani, which is why he was also referred to him, or he also referred to him as Ngamani. There was no other name that was provided to him. Well, the judge murmured, Ngamani. I'm like, I can't. Well, Mnisi, then said you would recall that after pointing out you took him home to go verify his address, or for whatever reason, he said the same person that was driving the motor vehicle that took him home, which is the same Gash guy, and they're recording him.
Wait, just fix this thing once and for all.
I told you I'm not gonna change calling it to me. It's a Cash guy, okay?
Let us fix this thing once and for all.
It's a Cash guy to me.
Listen.
Nissan Qashqai. Qashqai. Nissan
Machina.
Qashqai. Here are many more videos on how to pronounce all
That
of the
sounds
car
like a
names.
Chinese man. Uti Cash guy. In South Africa, it's a Cash guy. Let's move on. I'm not gonna listen to a Chinese accent telling me it's a Quash guy. It's a Cash guy.
It's a cash guy, man.
It's a Cash guy. It's even worse with the K. Aye, man. It's a Cash guy. Okay? Mr. Anonymous, you really want me to stop calling it a Cash guy?
It doesn't sound right. I know.
Okay, Quashquai, Kashkai,
Hey, it's cash guy.
Kashkai. That's gonna take some work from me, but it's fine. He said if this person, you did not know him as Ngamani, who is that person according to you? And
Guess what?
Ngamani...
He never answered that question, eh?
No.
No. He just went around it like it was never asked.
Yeah, he said that he did not book out accused number 1 to verify the address. He was booked out not by him. That was his answer. He didn't answer the question.
Who was that guy?
Mnisi said to Gininda, he said that he was there. He never said he booked him out. Who said that? And the judge told Mnisi to be fair to the witness. Mnisi said that he was fair. And the judge said, let me tell you why you are not fair. If he travels with the witness to Natal, who was incarcerated, he must book him out, which is common sense. You don't need to be a Mandela. The judge, in my opinion, here decided to off-ramp, right? Because Mnisi was not disputing that accused number 1 was booked out. He simply wanted to know why it took 4 hours to drive from Valeria to Alberton police station, right? That's all he wanted to know. And then in the midst of that, now he wants to know about Ngamani. And now the judge is now telling them about KZN. Right? Mnisi said before he could respond to the judge cut him and said, no, he is not saying that. Let the witness answer. It's because you are stopping him from talking. Let him answer whatever he wants. You can cross-examine him until Mandela is resurrected, no problem. Mnisi said that he should not twist what he is saying. And the judge said, no, let him answer. Then you can tell him where he twists. Now you're stopping the witness to talk. I'm like, hey, boo. Kanti. Oh, Brigadier Ginido, so good if the judge is saying all of this, right? He's not going to finish anytime soon if we allow these essay responses. But it's fine. If the judge is having it, then who are we? Gininda now said that Mnisi said that he took accused number 1. He took control of him. He did not book out accused number 1 to KZN. Now Gininda is talking about KZN now.
Hey, I've never had a situation umuntu adoje question kuze kusuka impi. Hey, yasuka impi ngento engekho. War. Yasuka impi. Like, honestly speaking, in position, it means that you booked him out. In Nyanhamba naye.
Yay.
It changed into being in position because you booked him out.
Now you went to KZN.
And explaining the case, it was actually a substance case. When ubuyaphi ke wena ma substance? Where were you going?
Where were you going?
Where were you going with your private car? If it was a substance case, well, ubuyaphi when? Where were you going?
You know, at this point, I was kind of looking and I was like, you know, these interferences from the judge, they cause confusion. Because now Brigadier Gininda was telling us about KZN now, you know, which was actually brought up by the judge when he said Nathan.
Taking statements and all that.
He said that when the address of KZN of accused number 1 was visited, he did not travel with him.
Simple said, that person. Who was that person then? If it was not Ngamani.
Who was that person?
Who was that person? You tell us about that
we
person.
We moved from expecting a response from that.
Did not.
He was telling us about how he traveled to KZN with his own car.
Sakhumbula sadobi inhlanzi wena Emil yabo. So sometimes we would get inside the water and stand in between, maybe yabo. Ubambu fish omgakanani mfethu ukhipha odobona.
Yes.
Uvela uphunyuke mfethu. Ungene emanzini inhliziyo yakhe ishone phansi. That's exactly.
You are hungry. You are starving.
Ingane yabantu ithi lo ohamba naye ubani ke hayi khona waphunyuka ubhabhula.
He told us about how he was traveling with his car, his own personal car to KZN, only then in KZN. That's when he met the protection team. I'm like, Nami, I was sitting like this, looking at my phone. I was like, huh? How did we get here? I was like, yo, now we are in KZN.
Uzenenye. I mean, uzenenye. Ngishilo izolo ngathi upheke iqanda kuvuthwa inkunku.
I was so shocked. And then he was telling us about, you know,
what his understanding is
Then he said that he moved to his address, back to his car. Then he went back to Johannesburg. He was not here when these members were driving a Quashquai. Hey, bengazi mina ukuthi sifike kanjani lana, like I was so lost. I was like, yo, but he was flowing. Yeah, now he was flowing, Shem. He was
flowing in what?
He was flowing in whatever direction. He was talking, but I was like, I am lost. I'm expecting an answer.
I would like to have his skill of not answering questions. Imagine they catch you cheating. Then you start talking about how you went home and you were not there. And I was not in possession of my phone.
He now said that they should ask Sergeant Mokhani if he was traveling with such a person. And he said that when they verified the address in relation to the substance dealing case, he was arrested by Sergeant Mokhola. And Mokhola on that day took a statement from one of the people in the house that was the Pepos. I had no idea what he was talking about. Accused number 1 raised his hand at this point and the judge looked very irritated. Okay. And then when Mnisi came back, he said Mokhani, Ngamani and Bongani were accompanied by the normal traffic cops.
You know, the painful thing about accused number 1, he still hopes one thing is gonna hit.
That hope is just taken away.
Khohlwa.
This is taken away.
Ayikho into ebuhlungu njengokuqanjelwa mangubuka.
Did you look at his face?
In fact, angisho ukuthi khona uqamba amanga, but sengiyasho nje ukuthi, have you ever been in that situation? I have been.
Many times, more than once.
It had to do with my siblings when I grew up. You know, they didn't want you to say anything because I was the elder one. So anything they say is true.
And then you are to blame because you're the eldest. The parents will unleash fire on you.
And in that court, in fact, what I see in that court, I get that feeling.
It's the same. Yeah. They would lie with a straight face. The things that our siblings did to us. With a straight face.
A kid can never lie. You know that situation. You know exactly what happened. A kid can never lie. Now I had a sister, the last born. That one would tell you straight in your face. If he wants your food or something, you have something nice in your hand. It's like, so I'm going to manga mina kubaba. What do you understand? Yeah. I mean, honestly speaking, you look at what happens in that court. It's exactly. It looks like that. It's like whatever a kid says is true. There is no way. Even when they say, let's go to Fosloras and look at that area. Icon. Tell us what you know. Tell us, Kinind, what you know. Kinind, where the window of the court is variable. Kinind goes there all the time for cases and different cases.
Yes.
God knows how many cases he goes there for.
He just testified that he went there to corroborate the confession. So he
tell us, Kinind, what
he's
you.
A police officer.
Hey, no, let's go there. No more right about Sasulide lab.
No Rambo Sepe.
But technology.
Ah!
Ngathi nisaphetha ama-file ngesandla uzokhuluma nge-technology.
Kanti why Rambo Sepe villa pakagaga? Guys, please.
No, so only Ramsey. Young defense, except Mnisi.
Why you guys so lazy?
You are talking about technology while we are still paging on the pages, papers. Technology should have happened if technology was anything to be trusted.
Sometimes I feel like they forget that should accused number one be able to prove what he's saying.
Look. Everyone is free. Look at what happens.
They're not giving me that.
You don't want to go there. Guess who's gonna volunteer to go there and shoot?
It's obviously the state.
My lord, we can assist. Accused number one won't be there to point exactly where.
No.
So someone will just go with a camera and be moving it.
Yeah, and maybe just choose to shoot
and obviously he will never point it.
No, he may not even record the place that accused number one is talking about. He may record something else, another parking place.
You talk about flying
that
drone.
Describes what Gininda was talking about. So the accused is being deprived of an opportunity to go and jog his memory. And maybe he might even remember other things, who knows. He's being denied that privilege. And to think that...
they are talking about the drones that this guy, our president, was talking about there in America.
No, they're not talking about that. They're talking about one of them going and recording whatever they want to record and then bringing it to court. And that's not good enough, in my opinion. Accused number one needs to go back there. I
understand why Ungumal is not interested, because if he travels to KZN all the time, it's inconveniencing. That's the feeling. But Ramsey, really? This is a chance to go with accused number one.
And accused number 2.
And accused number 2.
Because he was there at that Vosloorus police station as well at some point. He was taken there.
And when maybe they're going to collaborate this thing and say, yeah.
Maybe they're going to remember. Maybe the backup that baby asked, some of the police officers may coincidentally help in jogging the memories of remembering something.
They want technology.
The experience, them feeling.
Technology. My lord, technology. Technology, Anon. Eh? Yeah, Anon, technology. Technology failed us when it was supposed to prove that there was a call between Kaylee and accused number 5. Technology failed us.
It did.
They talked about WhatsApp that was not born. Technology.
It failed.
Technology.
It was telling us about WhatsApp calls when they were not in existence. They even tried with BPM calls at some point.
You're talking about technology. The bullet, they refused to use the new system.
The striation. They use the
old one
system.
You're talking about technology. What technology?
Sometimes
I'm happy that he's assisting Ulokuzana Mnisi, but I think here to battle by ngathi bona babuye bekhohle bephinde bethembe. Yabona Mnisi uvukile manje Mnisi. Uze washo wathi I cannot expect the state to help me to create my defense.
Yes.
You know. Lezi zona ngathi zathemba le othembelana.
Understand.
Uthembelana nothembelihle.
I am understanding. I'm I am understanding.
Uthembelana nothembelihle. Bathemba ulokuzana uthembekile. Whatever. I God. Don't ni kwazile eceleni madoda lapha. They must fix that thing.
Tomorrow morning, please. Change your minds. It's a free country. Okay. And be enthusiastic about going to that inspection loco. So now from Valeria, Mnisi said that they drove to Foslo, that little place where they found him in the company of Mohola, the parking at the police station again. Now this team took him there, according to his version, and they assaulted him in order to pressurize him to agree to the pointing out that would be done a little later on in that day. Gininda said Gininda could not respond because accused number 1 raised his hand again. The judge really looked irritated and he even drank water. He drank water a lot.
Why did you go big? I think he couldn't wait. Oh no, my lord, can I ask something? It's like no.
Well, Jen, we'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow. Well, Jen.
Yo, no. You must laugh when you have to. Yeah, drinking water is seriously a problem.
Well, yeah, and of course there was that back and forth argument about going for inspection loco. Advocate Mnisi raised his points. You know, it was a back and forth, and Baloi was saying that there's technology, they can take videos and photos, and I'm like, no way. Mina ngwafuna ama-photos ngifuna u-accused number 1 lapha yokhomba lapho ate lezinto lezi happened, right? And Gilinda can also look at where he says whatever happened, because it looks like they're describing 2 different places in the same area. So we need to see what each of them is talking about. It's only fair. And then Advocate Baloi said that he was going to need 2 to 3 days to arrange security for the inspection loco to happen.
Can babla baphekeze lezi insizwa.
On a daily basis.
Or udinga protection yabo.
I don't know, but he said he needs security to.
Khona usibande mos.
And it's gonna take 2 to 3 days, and I'm like, when they come to court, who's bringing them to court?
Spand is gonna protect them. Who calls Spand?
Sbanda. Hi, guys, kunzima. I'm just gonna wrap it up here because I was also very triggered and upset with his inferiority complex again when there was a spat between Gininda and Advocate Mnisi, and then he now decides to talk about black lawyers, and I'm like, what is going on? You are starting again with this inferiority complex of yours.
Other people don't deserve to comment about people of color.
No, they don't. And he's one of them.
They patronize us, these people.
Yeah.
Well, they might as well just bleach their skin.
Yeah, once and for all.
Once and for all.
And denounce yourself from being black.
Simple as that.
Yes. Leave blackness alone. Stop calling yourself black. You are white on the inside. And leave us alone. Leave us alone. So now you want the court to dictate to the rules. Your rules. You want your court where the defense does not argue with you and argues with you in chambers.
Imagine.
Right? And
you remember how
if they don't do that, they lack respect.
How Tifo used to sound so like out of touch or something like that when he said we discussed this thing in chambers,
and they made him look crazy.
Yeah, they made him look crazy.
They made him look insane. How can we forget that? Things that are discussed off record are not things that you can rely on.
Afro men have figured it.
That never happened. In life, in court, and now they want to do that to the defense. How, Gahlen? Everything will be addressed in court.
Lento chambers is overrated. The only time we can address each other with chambers is when we moor each other.
Yeah.
If we moor each other, then we can do that at go chambers. And then we are done.
Once and for all.
Yeah.
Manje to want and subject, to me it just feels like bullying. It just feels like another level of bullying. That microaggressions that happen with micromanagers at the workplace. This is what it gave me. And it's traumatizing. And I'm like, why would you want for the defense to address you in chambers when already you don't listen to them on a public platform? Why would you listen to them in chambers? Why would you even open the chambers for them? How are they going to prove what was discussed in the chambers?
Uyabona ukuthi ubheja amehla inje to be bheja amehla ebomvu ungabona emhlophe manje lapha phakathi. What is going on here? What is going on there by the red Mbulampura?
Hi, guys, that's it from me.
There's a certain throw ball there.
Yeah, bekusele kancane ukuthatha.
Uzosha ti bucket.
I'm quitting this nonsense. I'm tired of the disrespect. That would be nice, but he's not gonna give us that. Never.
Yo, if that was to happen.
He's never, imagine. Never, he will never do that. He will compose himself. So right now, it seems like he wants the defense to be weak, and I'm not going to have that.
Guys, please press
They've
that
come
like
too
button.
far.
Please press the like button. I'm reading the register before we go out. Teboho, thank you. Zwazwaza, thank you. Farai, thank you. Dokas, thank you. Mamzita, thank you. Emmanuel Makanjera, thank you. Zoli, thank you very much. Queen of South Africa, thank you. Kubegani Mtembo. Aw, so amadoda. Thank you. Kubegani Mvelase. Ngomane 83, thank you. Zuki Gala, thank you. lesivo suthando Machobane. Thank you. We appreciate you Msongelwa Ndlovu. Awusuka madoda. Thank you Ubongani Dube. Thank you Boitumelo MC Master. Thank you. Cishe ngaphinda ngathi Msongelwa futhi kwesibili. Hello LHM. Thank you. Oh no, say hello Nilo. I think Nilo. Sorry. LHM. Thank you. Let's see. Zakele Sbia. Thank you. Raul Mtrobele. Thank you. Mamfuneka siyabonga. Charity Mbonani. Thank you. Petros Nhlapo siyabonga. Mrs. K. Thank you. The voice behind the mic. Thank you.
The voice behind the mic.
The voice behind the mic. Sihamezi. Thank you, Siyabonga, all the way from Botswana, but I'm sure that is not in Botswana. Mtimkulu, Makulukulu, our member. Thank you, Doka Shabalala, our member also. Thank you, Laura, our member. Thank you, Siyabonga. Sibone, ukuthi kuhamba kanjani. Tlhaki Mutlaudi. Thank you. I'm correcting myself. Ntsiki Cassandra Kamguni, our member. Thank you. Asehle nje njalo siyabona ukuthi Opa Nkosi siyabonga. Thank you. ST, our moderator. Thank you. Kilebohile, our moderator. Thank you. Chuku Anna. Thank you. Akesibone ukuthi kuhamba kanjani. Sfiso Kumede. Thank you. Mngunigayelo. Sehla nabo nje. Uholoko. Charlie Dawid. Thank you. Sibone Emel. Ufuna ungisiza. ST, our moderator. If I've mentioned you, I'm mentioning you again. Thank you. Yeah. Baningi Emelawan. Baningi. I don't know where Bongantuba mentioned Bongantuba. Zama X. Thank you. Yeah. This is where I jump and come here and say, Dukas, thank you for your gift. God bless you. Press that like button like you mean it. Ria, thank you. To the tools. Hello. Is this Australia or America? I'm not sure. Tuli Tools now is in the house. Our moderator, Behat Katit. Thank you, Siyabonga. Lucas Nkos. Ukhona. Fela nje insini. Oh my God. We must laugh. We must laugh. Pinky Nziba. Thank you. Linda Dlamini. Thank you. Khadia Masohana, ne? Khadia Masohana. Emil. Khadia Masohana. Is that how you pronounce it?
It should be.
Okay. Thank you, Khadia Masohana. Soka ngizosifunda ngenkani. Thembelani khanye madoda. Nangu Thembelani nothembekile wathembekile.
Thembekile.
Hey, bathemba lezi technology. Thank you guys. Siyabonga kakhulu. If CN Polka, if I haven't mentioned you, it's because I missed you. And this other day, Makaya, Siyabonga. If I have not mentioned you, I'm afraid to kuyenzeka amehlo akhathele. Thank you very much to everyone. Chief Mkhondo, Siyabonga Chief. Thank you very much, guys. Continue watching. Busani Sibande, our member. Thank you, Siyabonga. Sinbonga nje nonke. And please press that like button. Pulu. Oh, Uqapashe. sivala ngaye. Thank you very much. It's a bye from me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's a bye from us, and we'll see you again tomorrow.